Hi, welcome. My name's Phil. I'm the Income School student, and today we're going to be talking about hiring writers from Facebook. So stick around to find out more. So in case you didn't catch my last video, I was talking about the fact that last week I launched 2 new websites. And this is because coming into 2020, I'm going for a multi-site strategy. And in order to do that, I need to hire writers. It's not something I've done before. And luckily, I'm a member of Project 24, which was set up by Jim Harmer and Ricky Kessler over at Income School. And it teaches you everything you need to know about being an internet marketer. One of the courses, and there's about 16 courses within Project 24, one of the courses is all about hiring writers, and it's a very useful course. And it teaches you from sort of the start to the end of the process, everything you need to do to get the right kind of writers to produce the right kind of content on your website. And I've slightly gone a different direction with that. So what I've done is I've hired local writers from where I live in Taiwan. The reason I did that is because my budget is finite, and I kind of wanted to work with people that perhaps I could meet in person and have a bit of a closer relationship with. And obviously I'm going to pay less money, so that's also a big factor. So the main thing about this course about hiring writers is the sort of filtering process. It's very useful. So in this video, I just want to talk about my experience of hiring writers through Facebook, and maybe this is an option for you too. Okay, so let's go through it. How exactly did I hire the writers that I have so far? Well, the first stage and the most important stage is do your search analysis. Prepare your hit list. Get a list of articles with the headings that you want, and do this first. But of course, I didn't do this first. I did this second, and it was a big mistake. The main reason that I didn't prepare all this in advance is that I've never hired writers before. I'm a little bit of a control freak. I didn't want to rely on other people. I didn't want to release too much information about what I was doing in case someone copies me. But I simply cannot do what I'm planning to do with all these websites. I'm planning to launch 4 websites before 2020. I cannot do this on my own. So I need other people to write for me. So I sort of egged myself on, and I just wrote the ad and put it onto the Facebook groups because I didn't really think anyone would respond. But people did. And then I had a mad rush to try and get all of the articles planned out with the headings and the search analysis so I could send it to the writers who applied. So do this before you do anything else. Just go through, take your time, get good headings, and make sure you're choosing the right posts, and then you move on to the next step. So the next step is to write the ad. So you want to be very clear about the role that you're hiring for. So what does the writer have to do? You have to be very clear on exactly how much you're going to pay them. So you need to plan the pay scale, and you need to just outline all the anticipation that you have, and the expectations, I should say rather, that you have of the writers. So when it comes to the pay scale, ordinarily you're probably going to pay somewhere between 3 cents, so US dollars, 3 cents and 30 cents per word. That is sort of the going rate. However, I found that if you work with expats in slightly less, affluent countries, the cost of living's lower. So in Taiwan, the average wage is much lower than the average wage in other places. Now, some people say, oh, that's not fair, you shouldn't pay people less money for the same work. But hear me out, okay? So I'm a teacher here in Taiwan, and I earn a certain amount an hour. So what I did is look at how much I earned, how much the average wage is for a teacher, and I placed my fee somewhere in between. Now, when I say somewhere in between, I earn maybe $1 or $2 US in equivalent more than the average. So it's not like a big difference. So I thought, if you're earning this amount of money for an hour in a classroom with kids, it's far nicer to spend an hour writing. So I thought that's a fair deal. So that's why I went with the price. I was planning to actually pay the same amount of money as I earned, or maybe a little bit more, but my wife, being Taiwanese, she said lowball them. Now, I'm not saying that Taiwanese people are bad, but they are lowballed in price here, so they earn a lot less than they should. But I'm quite happy with the price, and it turns out that other people are happy with that price too. So this is the biggest thing you've got to decide: how much are you prepared to pay, and will people be willing to accept it? In most cases they will, but that might mean the quality of the writer is not what you're expecting. So it's a bit of trial and error, and sometimes you might have to raise that price. But yeah, so write your ad and put all the details down. Now, I had a video that I created because I wanted to show that I was a real person, and I wanted to show people that I wasn't going to scam them. I was just someone they might know from the pub or something like that. So if you're able to do this, create a video. Just to show you what I did, it was very simple. This is the video that I made, so it wasn't very long. Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Phil, and I'm going to be launching a couple of websites soon, and I'm basically just looking for some freelance writers. So if you think that you're the sort of person that can research a topic and then write a pretty good answer to that topic, then you're the person that I'm looking for. So just a few sort of requirements. I'm only looking for native speakers. I know that there's lots of you out there that speak English very well, but I just want to look for someone who is a native, so sorry about that. I'm also going to be paying you through PayPal, so you need to have a PayPal account. And don't worry if you're not too sure if it's going to work out, because even if you write your first post and I don't end up hiring you, I'm going to pay you for that first post. So don't worry if you just want to try out and see if it's a good fit for you. The only other thing is that I'm only going to work with people based in Taiwan. This is because ideally I'd like to meet you so I could sort of give you a few tips and maybe help you with your writing so that my websites can be as helpful as they can for my users. So just read the instructions below, and if you think it's a good fit for you, send me an email. Make sure that you read the instructions carefully, because if you don't send me the right information, I will not be considering you for the job. So thanks very much, and maybe we'll be working together in the near future. So thanks for watching. Okay, the next step is, once you've written the ad, you need to filter out the applicants. If you're doing this on Facebook, then you may not get as many applicants as if you were doing this through something like Upwork or some sort of writer's job board. But you need to use the same kind of method. What I mean by filtering out is, I put an instruction at the end of my ad that said, please send me an email and I will only respond to emails, and I put my email address there. I also said in the title, please put your home country, because I only wanted to recruit native speakers. I said put your home country and this phrase. So you can choose any phrase you want. I decided to choose Taipei 101 because that's the biggest building here in Taiwan. And it was just, so it would have been UK Taipei 101. And if I didn't see that title in the email, I didn't open it, I just deleted it. I also said that I would not respond to comments, and I would not respond to private messages. So another reason not to respond to comments is that you're always going to get trolled. So I put this ad on, and the first comment obviously was someone saying, oh, how can you expect people to accept such a low salary? I could find a writing job within 15 minutes with 7 times the amount. And I'm thinking, this is good money. I mean, if you can find a writing job 7 times what I'm charging, yeah, good luck to you, go for it. But you're going to get that. So my advice is don't read the comments, because it's just going to upset you. It kind of upset me. It made me feel like I was a bad person for trying to do something with my life, basically. So just ignore comments, ignore private messages. I even had acquaintances of mine who sent me private messages. I didn't respond, because if they do not follow your instructions, you do not want to work with them. So that's why the filtering system works. Another thing that I asked them to do was to write 100 words on a topic. The topic was why they enjoy living in Taiwan. It's just something that you can see very quickly if their grammar's correct, if they can spell well, if they have a good tone of voice. So I just skim through these things, and sometimes people would say they were a native speaker, and they clearly weren't. So it's a good way to sort of filter out the people you don't want to work with. So the next step is something that only really works in the way I'm describing it if you're in Project 24. Because in the How to Hire Writers course, Jim and Ricky have prepared 2 brilliant training videos for us. They go through what's known as the post recipe, how to write a post in order to optimize it for on-page SEO, as well as other things that we learn about in Project 24. I'm not going to talk about those because I'm not allowed to. But these are 2 really good videos. And in the videos, they've got secret words. So basically, throughout the video, Jim and Ricky will just say, okay, this is a secret word. Tell this to the person who's hiring you. So I sent my writers or my applicants a link to these 2 videos. And all they had to do was come back to me with the 3 secret words. And once they did that, I gave them a heading. I gave them some instructions of what I expected from that post. I learned how to do this after the first couple of times, because basically people are not familiar with the way that we write posts in Project 24. So I gave them a little bit of extra help, and I said to them, send it back to me. I'm going to run it through a plagiarism checker. If it's not plagiarized, I will pay you. Whether or not I use that article, I'm going to pay you. And I think that's fair enough, because at this stage, you don't know if they're going to screw you over. They don't know if you're going to screw them over. So I wanted to make a point of, you're going to get paid. And I did. They sent me the articles. I checked it with a free plagiarism checker, which I'll put a link to that in the description, because I can't remember the website. I think it's duplychecker.com, something like that. So I just ran it through that. If it passed, I sent the money through PayPal, and it kind of worked. And the next stage was, for me, what I would do was I'd go through it and edit it. I'd put the article into my own voice. I checked spelling. There's a few spelling mistakes here and there, a few grammar errors here and there. But I've got the Grammarly plugin, so it's really easy to do that. I'd format that on page, and I'd publish it. I would then send the feedback to the writer. Most of the feedback was to do with the structure, particularly with the post recipe. A lot of people don't get it the first time. I've written 61 posts on my main Project 24 website, and I know how to do this now. And so I just gave them the feedback, gave them some examples, and for the 2 writers who wrote me a second article, they did it much better than the first one. So that's how you do it. And I was a little bit scared about hiring writers to begin with, but I found that by working with people through Facebook groups, I think I'm quite happy with the results. So just my sort of impression of the process of hiring writers. The major thing that I've learned is that no one will care about your website as much as you will. And if you're paying less money, you can't expect more work. So you've got to kind of help the writer out as much as you can, and you've got to reduce your workload as much as you can later on. So the best way to do this is, when you're preparing your hit list, do some research on each article. Go through and just pick out some ideas that you would write about, that you think would push that article above the competition. Because the problem is, if you give a writer who's never done this before a title, they're just going to go and search it on Google, and they're going to scrape the information from the other websites. And that's not what you want. You want something else. But you can't expect someone, for $30 to spend hours and hours on a 1,500 words article and do lots and lots of research. But if you do that yourself beforehand, I think that you're going to get better results. So that's what I'm going to do moving on to the future. I'm going to prepare a little bit of research for each of the articles, make a very clear set of instructions, then send it out with the post heading, and I think it's going to reduce my editing later on, because I had a couple of problems with the writers. A few times people just run out of steam at the end, and I had to add a lot more information. Also, I had an issue with one writer. So she was a female writer, and I gave her the post heading, and she wrote everything from a female perspective. But my name is going to be on that article, and obviously I am a guy. So so I had to go through and edit everything out. So sometimes you have to remind people, you can't just write it from one point of view. You've got to consider both sides of a story, make it more accessible to all types of users. And people just forget that if they're new to writing. But it wasn't a major problem. It didn't take me very long to fix. So that's my advice. Just anticipate mistakes that people will make and provide them with as much research, I should say, as you can beforehand. And this is going to produce a lot better articles and a lot less work for you. So if you want to find out a little bit more about my journey with the writers, I'm going to be updating you, periodically through videos over the next couple of months. So just subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That way you're not going to miss out on any information. I hope you found this useful. If you did, share it with some friends. Also, if you've got any questions, just leave me a comment. I'll get back to you. I might even make a video just for you if it's a really big question. And I'm here to share my experiences. If I can help you out at all, that's going to be great. If you're interested in becoming a Project 24 member, just as I am, then you can use my link, and I would really appreciate that if you did. You can check out the link in the description there, or you can go over to my website at incomeschoolstudent.com/project24. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.